The air between Bill and Kat seemed to tighten with every word, the kind of tension that does not explode immediately, but instead coils slowly like something waiting for the exact right moment to strike. It was never just a simple argument about Haley. It felt deeper than that, like two completely different versions of reality colliding, and neither side willing to step back even a single inch. Bill stood there with that quiet certainty, the kind that comes from emotional blindness rather than actual clarity. And I could see it so clearly. He was not just defending Haley, he was defending the version of his life that he desperately wanted to believe was real. A young wife who loved him, a stable relationship, a sense that everything he had done had led him to something worthwhile. And Kat, on the other side, was tearing into that illusion without hesitation. What fascinates me is how Kat did not hesitate at all. She did not soften her words. She did not try to persuade gently. She went straight for the truth as she saw it. She called Haley exactly what she believed she was: a liar, a manipulator, someone who had carefully constructed a role just convincing enough to fool Bill completely, and the more she spoke, the more intense her conviction became. Almost like she was not just trying to convince Bill, but also trying to anchor herself in that belief so she would not start doubting her own instincts. Bill's reaction was predictable, but still frustrating to watch. He immediately turned the situation around, suggesting that Kat was being manipulated instead, that Tomas had somehow influenced her, twisted her perspective, made her see something that was not there. It is such a classic deflection, and yet it works so often because it gives the person something else to blame. Instead of questioning Haley, Bill questioned Kat's judgment, but Kat did not break under that pressure. She made it clear that Tomas was not the problem, that he was actually someone trying to stay out of something dangerous. And that detail, that subtle shift, is what makes everything more interesting to me. Because if Tomas is not acting out of malice, then it means he knows something real enough to make him step back instead of digging deeper. And that is where the entire situation starts to feel like it is balancing on the edge of something much bigger. Because while Bill dismisses Tomas as irrelevant or even manipulative, Kat sees him as someone cautious, someone aware of the risks. And when two people interpret the same person in completely opposite ways, it usually means the truth is being hidden somewhere in between. The argument did not resolve anything, not really. Bill walked away still believing in Haley, still convinced that Kat was wrong. But something had already started to shift inside him, even if he did not admit it yet. Because doubt, once planted, does not disappear. It lingers quietly, waiting for the smallest confirmation to grow. And that confirmation came sooner than he expected. The phone call from the hotel was not dramatic on the surface. It was just a routine warning, a polite notice about potential fraud. But in a situation like this, even something small becomes significant. The moment they questioned him about the account, about the payments, about the transactions that exceeded what he had authorized, everything changed. Bill did what anyone in his position would do. He confirmed that Haley was his wife, that she had access, that she was allowed to use the account. But the problem is not in the permission, it is in the pattern. Because permission can be abused, trust can be exploited, and the moment the numbers do not match expectations, the illusion starts to crack. I can almost see the exact moment it hits him. Not fully, not enough to shatter his belief, but enough to make him pause. Enough to make him remember Kat's words. That is how doubt works. It does not arrive as a loud realization. It seeps in quietly, attaching itself to small inconsistencies. And suddenly, the argument he had dismissed starts replaying in his mind. Kat's certainty, her insistence, the way she refused to back down. It no longer feels like stubbornness. It starts to feel like warning. That is why Bill goes to Joey. This decision is crucial because it shows that even if Bill is not ready to accuse Haley, he is no longer completely at ease. He needs reassurance, or maybe he needs proof, something that can either confirm his fears or eliminate them. But the irony here is that instead of investigating Haley directly, he chooses to focus on Lynette. And that tells me everything about his current mindset. Bill is not ready to see Haley as the problem, so he redirects his suspicion. He convinces himself that Lynette is the dangerous one, that she is somehow threatening Haley, that she is the hidden force behind everything. It is a safer narrative for him, one that allows him to remain loyal while still addressing the unease growing inside him. Joey, of course, becomes the perfect intermediary. He does not question too much. He understands the kind of work that needs to be done, and more importantly, he has someone like Randy. Randy is not just a background figure. He is the kind of person who moves quietly but efficiently, someone who follows orders without hesitation. And the moment Joey gives him the task, everything starts moving in a direction that Bill cannot fully control anymore. Because Randy is not just gathering information, he is also a link in a chain that leads directly back to Haley. And this is where things become dangerous. Because if Randy is connected to Haley in any way, or if his movements are being monitored, then Bill's investigation is no longer secret. It becomes something that can be anticipated, manipulated, even turned against him. I can already imagine the moment when Haley finds out. It will not be dramatic at first, it will be subtle. A small realization, a quiet shift in her expression. She will understand immediately what it means. Bill is starting to question things, not her directly, but close enough. And Haley is not the kind of person who waits passively. She will act, she will adjust, she will find a way to stay ahead of him. Maybe she will tighten her control. Maybe she will create a distraction, or maybe she will push the narrative even further, making Lynette appear more dangerous, more threatening, more convincing as the real target. And Bill, still holding on to his belief, will likely follow that path. He will think he is protecting Haley, when in reality, he is being guided exactly where she wants him to go. That is what makes this situation so frustrating and so compelling at the same time. Because Bill is not entirely blind. He is starting to see fragments of the truth, but he is interpreting them in the wrong way. Instead of questioning the foundation, he is questioning the surrounding elements. Kat, on the other hand, is moving in the opposite direction. She is not afraid of Bill. She is not intimidated by his authority or his anger. In fact, the more resistance she faces, the more determined she becomes. And that kind of determination is dangerous, not because it is reckless, but because it is persistent. She believes Tomas is innocent, and her reasoning makes sense. Tomas is not acting like someone guilty, he is acting like someone cautious. He is stepping back, avoiding involvement, trying not to attract attention. That is not the behavior of someone orchestrating a scheme. It is the behavior of someone trying to avoid being caught in one. But Tomas's fear also reveals something important. He is afraid of Bill, not just in a general sense, but specifically afraid of retaliation, of losing his job, of facing consequences that go beyond simple conflict. That means Bill has power, and he is willing to use it. And that kind of power creates silence. It prevents people from speaking up, from investigating, from pushing too far. Kat does not share that fear. And that is why she is the most dangerous element in this entire situation. Because while everyone else is either manipulating or avoiding, she is actively searching. She is willing to dig deeper, to connect the dots, to confront the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. And I think that is where everything is heading. Bill will continue his investigation, but in the wrong direction. Haley will continue to manipulate the situation, staying one step ahead, adjusting her strategy as needed. Randy will act as the silent executor of Joey's orders, unknowingly feeding information into a system that may already be compromised. And Kat will keep pushing forward, getting closer and closer to something that cannot remain hidden forever. The question is not whether the truth will come out, it is how much damage will be done before it does. Because if Kat is right, if Haley really is deceiving Bill, then this is not just about money. It is about betrayal, about control, about the slow dismantling of someone's life without them even realizing it. And if Bill realizes it too late, there may be nothing left for him to protect. That is the tension I keep coming back to. The feeling that everything is already in motion, that every character is making choices that seem logical to them, but are leading toward a collision none of them are fully prepared for. And when that collision finally happens, it will not be quiet. It will not be subtle. It will be the kind of revelation that forces everyone to confront the truth they have been avoiding, whether they are ready or not.